Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at a very common false belief, a myth, that we catch colds. Now most of us believe that we catch colds, and we believe that because we have a whole lot of references that support that belief. And this is important for us to understand because there are quite a few beliefs that are important for certain people to want us to believe so they can control and rule us. And they've invested a lot of time to brainwash us and bombard our brains with bullshit so that we are literally brain dead on certain subject matters. Because when the truth comes to us and we compare it to all those references, we immediately throw it out and say that can't be true. There's just no way. I've got way too many references that support what I know is true. But what we have to understand is those type of beliefs are contrived. They've been paid for. We are being bombarded with bullshit about certain subjects over and over for as long as some of us have lived to make us believe certain things are true. And this is important for us to understand because we don't catch a cold, we eat a cold. And guess what would happen if we ever came to that realization? If we finally woke up and said, wow, I eat a cold, maybe I also eat heart disease and cancer and diabetes and arthritis and bingo, bingo, bingo. Swine flu, the dark side of our behavior, bingo, bingo, bingo. Yes, my friends, the fall of mankind is eating the wrong foods. It was the cooking of the foods that allow us to start eating things we never would have eaten before. Eating the animals darkened the dark side of our behavior, but the initial act of cooking itself was the big mistake because that's what destroyed the biophotons. That's what destroyed one of our senses. And then when we are missing one of our senses and then we create a cesspool inside of us, this serpent of dead animal flesh, that just darkens the dark side of our behavior. So it's important for the status quo to be the status quo, for us to believe certain things, and one of them is this belief that we catch colds. Why? Because if we learned that we don't catch it, we eat it, then we'd learn we eat everything else. And all we have to do is change what we eat. Could it be that simple? Why not? Why couldn't it be that simple? Think about it. Look at all the things that affect us. Air, water, food, sunshine, exercise, sleep, our thoughts, emotions, the community we live in. All these things matter, the environment and the way we interact with it. That's what matters. And of all those things, what do you think would be the most important factor? Air, you bet, hey, we die within a real short period of time without air. That's why our lungs heal so fast. Water the same way. Food, we can go quite a while without food. But that's the most important thing that we build our bodies out of. And think about it. If we alter the food, what's going to happen to us? It boggles my mind that everyone can be in such a collective state of denial about how harmful cooking is, and to actually be tricked into believing that, oh, that's what made our brains grow bigger, is because we learned how to cook our food. No, we didn't know how to cook anything. We didn't even master fire. Our brains had to grow bigger before we could even master fire, let alone make a bad application like cooking our food in it. And yet, those are the types of beliefs that are bombarded in our brain. We got too many references. And then we're not taught critical thinking skills in the educational system here in America. So unless you possess those skills going into this system, the likelihood of you ever being able to wake up from some of these nightmares is very difficult. But it can be done because a lot of people are waking up. We know that now. More and more people are realizing what's going on. We just aren't very... what's the word I'm looking for? We're just not as organized as we should be. And the really only way for us to get organized at the level we need to be is for all of us to individually bump up those biophotons. That's the fall of mankind. It's the cooking of the food that allowed us to do something as hideous as eat an animal and eat other plants that we're not meant to eat. This is why we are under a spell. Again, it was easy for me to quit eating animals. Giving up cooked food, that shows you the true addiction. That's the real spell we're under, my friends. We're truly under a hunger spell that allows us, that urges us to keep making the same mistake over and over and over. So, Where do we go from here? We really need to learn to empty our cup. We really need to learn to sit down before fact like a little child. And the first step to growing wisdom is accepting that we have false knowledge. That's the first step. That's when we become the line that forms a circle in Einstein's circle of known, a video I did. That's where we know we don't know. That's what allows us to go into the unknown and find the pieces we're missing. Luckily for us, the piece we're missing used to be inside of our circle of knowledge, so to speak. We knew what to do for a long time, but our brains doubled in size. We mastered things we never mastered before, made a bad application, destroyed one of our senses. Now we prey upon ourselves. Now we're suffering for a lack of knowledge. We're addicted to those problems. And we have way too many references that support so many false beliefs. It's unbelievable. So what do we have to do? We have to look at every one of these false beliefs, especially if they take away our responsibility, and question them. And especially if they were presented to us before we had the ability for critical thinking, and many of those are. The way we eat is sure put upon us long before we can even talk, right? This is why I say, and B.F. Skinner said it first, society attacks early, when the individual is helpless. Long before we had the ability for critical thinking. We were taught the same mistakes and got addicted to them just like everyone else. And now, most of what we do is always some sort of downstream solution. Why? Because we have too many references that support too many false beliefs that don't allow us to wake up to really what's going on. And we have to always make sure we don't get distracted. It's really easy to try to argue about certain details, about certain events, and it's of no importance. No importance. There are lessons we need to learn from what has happened to us. And the big lessons is that we live on an abundant planet. But we have the wrong mentality. And then things are never going to change until we change our mentality. So that's why I always say it's time to get excited, because this is an exciting time to live. Never before in the history of mankind has there been such a desire, need to make sure we go one way versus the other, because we could really go one way pretty easily. And I just don't even like to give that any energy. I know that nothing's etched in stone. I'm not convinced that there are as many people in cahoots as are led to believe. And I just know that there's going to be an MO to the darkest of the dark side of our behavior, and we can expect that from all of them. And we should just realize they're a reflection of us, right? And the only way for us to overcome that aspect of us is for us to individually change. So once again, it's time to get excited. It's time to do the first of my 3-step process, where we take a solid food vacation for the appropriate length of time, one day at a time. We go the distance, no telling how long that's going to be. We want to go at least till we stop eliminating, and many of us might not realize how long that has to be, and how long you can actually keep doing this and still have things coming out of you weeks and months into it. It took me 3 months to stop eliminating when I finally went on my longest juice cleanse of 90 days back in 1994. So I know from experience that getting rid of this is really exciting. I know from experience because I've coached lots of people. I know it's really easy to get distracted, and it's also really easy to get reconnected. And what's the easiest way to get reconnected? Is to do the first of my 3-step process. Go down below, click to the seminar that I gave on how to do the juice fast. Get motivated. Listen to Dr. Robo, watch the Deborah Duncan show, and I guarantee you, my friends, when you do it, you're in for a treat.